Hello everybody, this is Cheri at djsundry.blogspot.com, and today we are going to start working on Stamping 101, or simple basic stamping techniques. Now the first thing that I want to talk to you about is just taking your stamp set out of the package. When we are using Close to My Heart stamps, and actually this is not exclusive to Close to My Heart, really any of these clear stamps like what we have from Close to My Heart, what we find is left over from the manufacturing process, sometimes there can be some residue left on the top of the stamp. So the first thing when we pull out the stamp set that we want to do is we want to properly prep the stamp. So this is how you do that. You take the stamp off and you mount it on your block just as you have here. And you notice I'm touching it. And that's part of the process. Now, this is especially important on the stamp like what I have here, which is why I chose it for that and for the techniques, because I want to show you the difference in using this stamp. But when you have a big stamp like this that's a solid image, this is really important. So what I'm doing is I'm touching all over it. Another thing that you can do is you can just take it onto your skin and just kind of go on your skin, and what your skin is doing is it's picking up some of those oils and residue off of the top. And then I take a baby wipe and I clean that off just like so. Try to get those extra residues off of my stamp. Now the next thing that I want to talk to you about is I'm just going to set that aside and let that dry a little bit while we're talking. The next thing I want to talk to you about is the packaging of the Close to My Heart stamps. Now when I found this out, this was one of the best secrets that I could learn about the packaging of their stamp set, and it's really not a secret because I try to spread it to everyone because it has made such a difference in my stamping. When you get a stamp set from Close to My Heart, you'll notice that it comes in this lovely little package. It also has the clear acetate sheet that has all of the images adhered to. You obviously do not want to throw those away because it helps you organize your stamps. And then you have the paper, which actually has information on the inside, and it talks about inking up your stamps and those kind of things. So you have all of that, but then you have this little piece of foamy stuff that looks like garbage. And of course it looks like it's extra packaging and it makes your stamps all cushy and everything, but actually this is a functional piece of the stamp set. And this is the reason. If you take the cardstock or whatever you're going to be stamping on and you set that on top of that foamy piece, when you apply the pressure of your stamp, it gives you a cleaner image. So what we're going to do is we are going to, in just a minute, we're going to ink up, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Now the next step about prepping your stamp is making sure that if at all possible you choose a block as close to the size of the image as you possibly can. And the reason why is it's just easier. It's really easy when you're inking up your stamp to get ink all over, and if you don't remember to clean that off before, then you go to step your image down, you rock it just a little bit, and you've got extra ink on your card. Which, if you're cutting out an image, that's not a huge deal. But if you are stamping on a solid piece and you've already got other images and things on that piece, that becomes a huge item. So you just have better control of your stamp, and you're more likely to have a cleaner image when you have the closest size of block to match the stamp that you're using. So that's just another tip. Now I am taking this is just Colonial White cardstock and this stamp set. Now this is last month, September's stamp of the month, so it's no longer available unless you could find it off of eBay or someplace like that. I am choosing an old retired stamp color called Autumn Terracotta, and that's because it's a really good orange, and I have not purchased a newer orange that would work for this particular stamp, so that's why I chose that. And I am just going to ink it up. Now you want to really make sure that you've got that stamp inked up well. Sometimes you can, you know, kind of twists while you're inking it. Now when you're dealing with a solid stamp such as this one, you have to be really careful if you do that. That's fine to get the middles of the images or whatever, but then you want to tap it really well to make sure that you've got ink evenly through the whole thing, because it's really easy to have a smear spot in the middle. Then you're going to go straight down on your image, or I mean on your cardstock, and you're going to press, and you're going to try to put even pressure and to do as little rocking of your stamp as possible. And there we have a nice clean image. Now I want to show you the difference if I don't use that pad. We're going to set that aside. I'm going to re-ink my stamp. And the reason I did the better image first was because I wanted to be sure that my stamp was really well inked when I did the second image, so that when you see it, you know that the difference is not because it's the first time I've used a stamp, because it literally is the first time I've used a stamp. But I wanted you to be able to see the difference. This is another one of the beautiful things about using an acrylic stamp. You can see when you look right through there if your image is really well inked, and mine is. So now I'm going to check my block to make sure I don't have orange ink anywhere. I'm going to set that down, again applying even pressure as best as possible, and lift it up. And actually, wouldn't you know, this time it actually didn't do a horrible job in spreading an uneven image, but you can still, if you can see a little bit, this is just a cleaner image. This one has more dark around the edges, and lighter in the middle, which actually for a pumpkin isn't a bad thing, but often you would not want that. So that's just using the pad to make it work, and it works really well even for this little one. So now I've got, this says Beyond Measure, and I don't know if you noticed or not, but when I ink that up, especially see how small that stamp is. This is the smallest block that I have that would fit this particular stamp. And so you can see when I'm trying to ink it up, I got ink right here in this corner. So before I stamp that, I'm going to want to wipe that off, because I do not want to transfer that to my cardstock. Now I'm not being particular about how this goes on. I'm just showing you even pressure. And the more even your pressure is, the cleaner your image or your sentiment or whatever will be. So that is just stamping basic 101. If you use the cling mount stamps that we talked about with the gray foam on the back that you can put on the black, or if you're using rubber stamps, you may find that you don't need this pad because they already have a little bit of cushion as part of the mechanism of the stamp. However, anytime you use any clear stamp, I don't care what company it's from, it's really best if you go ahead and save one of these. And after all, you're going to have so many close to my heart stamps that you'll be able to pull one from the package and save it. So I really encourage you to get out a couple of stamps that you have. I want you to practice with solid images. I want you to practice with stencils. You don't have to use up your cardstock. If you want to just pull a piece of white typing paper, of course that fill will be different, because as you press on that copy paper, it's really easy to leave indentations. But play with that a little bit, then get a piece of just scrap cardstock that you have, play with that a little bit, and really get the feel of your technique, what works best for you. Now, you might be curious about why I'm even pulling pumpkins out, although it's fall. I am getting ready to do a project which will be up on the blog. In fact, it's probably up before you even see this video. It will be up, and so I will put a link down below in the description box of this video to that project, so you can kind of see what I'm doing with this whole image. It's not part of the class, but it is a project I'm working on. So thanks so much for stopping by today, and remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.